All right, many people are reporting gameplay is feeling too slow. Sometimes this comes in the form of people saying that monster life is too high, or play damage is too low, or areas are taking too long. Many people are reporting it. They're not saying that it is. They're just saying people are reporting it. In this post, we talk about some of the things we have already done and some more changes that we're planning on making. I've not played Minions in this current patch. I watched a video of Crip complaining about it, though. And he's like, he was claiming his build was complete ass trash. But then at the same time, he cleared the campaign way faster than I did, which I don't know about that, little bro. I need to do a comparison on how long it took him to kill, like, some of the bosses versus me, because I'm pretty sure I kill bosses way slower than him. Way slower, bro. Way slower. We had to check out. Pretty sure I was way more dog shit than him. Okay. Monster life is too high. One of the first things we looked at when considering clear speed concerns was the monster curve. We found that the monster life through most of the campaign after Act 1 was probably too high. Probably too high. Oh, shit. So it could have actually been fine. It's probably too high. We made an adjustment to lower the monster life by 25% through most of the campaign. This change has been deployed already. See, I haven't got a big enough sample size. I need to go back and, like, watch. Wait, I could just go back and watch it, right? So get a hammer on that bitch. Oh, there you go. Oh, damn.
This ends now.
Oh, damn.
Once you hit him with that, by the way.
I mean, the damage is way better. And an HCSSF. Holy. It's definitely a lot slower now. One of the first things we looked at, considering clear speed concerns, was the monster life curve. We found that monster life through the most of the campaign in Act 1 was probably too high. We've made an adjustment to lower monster life by 25% through most of the campaign. This change has been deployed already. I just don't know if it was too fast at all. Honestly. I feel like this was just the whole thing about making monsters tankier and nerfing shit that didn't need to be nerfed is question mark. I feel like it was already like you had builds, right? There was like builds which are like this. You had ethical builds, you had builds, and there was just some builds that were just way better, right? And you had some builds that were kind of good and the ones that were kind of shit. And I feel like what they did was they just said, hey, fucking, let's just nerf everything, bro. Let's just nerf everything, right? That's what they wanted to do. They're like, just fucking let's nerf everything. Whereas I don't think they should have done this. I think it should have been the builds that were egregious, right? And the builds that were just very strong maybe received a slight nerf. Like that, when I say a slight nerf, that be like, you know, cut into like a third, right? Or a fourth. Like a giga nerf on the things that were broken and a little nerf to the things that were just strong. But the ones that were just like, I mean, bro. Fucking, like when I was going for my warrior, just May striking away, it was pathetic. I mean, what did Flame Blast do? Yeah, what did Flame Blast do? How come Wait, was Firestorm broken? I actually don't know. What I'm saying is, this is what I feel like should have happened. Like, I would totally be fine with this and on board with this. But what happened was, in reality, it's like they just got everything and fucked it up. And then it made the game just feel... Yeah, I don't know. Just too slow. It did not feel good. It felt bad. Honestly, I feel like the main reason why I wasn't really having super fun, though, was not... It's got nothing to... The balance and the HP, whatever, was kind of shit. And kind of a little bit annoying. And yes, like, sometimes you're just sitting there like... Okay, there's no way this monster can kill me, but I'm just going to sit there and hit it. And I'm hitting it like 15 times to slowly kill it. And that's like, ugh. But the main reason why I was kind of like whatever was because of the fact that there was no real end game, you know, no like new league mechanic. And just that I think I'm more fundamentally hung up about the way that you're locked into weapons and the way that you can't fully commit to skills. Honestly, because I think it's weapons and skills that really make it feel shit. The second issue we found was the life bonus to the rare minions was incredibly high. One of the reasons it felt particularly bad was because these monsters, while still white, but are more life than blue monsters. This calibrates players' expectations incorrectly and makes rare fights harder than they should be. A number has been sent back to what it was in point 1. Okay, fair enough. Honestly, I do think that GGG just need to change their mentality, right? They need to, bro. Do you know? If I was GGG, what I'd be doing? The really broken, stupid, ridiculous builds, nerf the fuck out of them. The builds that are really, really, really strong, nerf the fuck out of them. Builds that are shit, give them a little buff. Everything else, don't touch it. And then just let there will be a slight amount of power creep happening over time with this, which I think is fine, as long as people aren't completely trivializing all the content. I think it's fine to have a bit of power creep. And then guess what? After a couple of years of them doing this, right, they're gonna have to do a balance pass and nerf everyone. But while
Cope session,
while they are still in the game's infancy, I don't think it's worth like just doing this shit. I mean, then again, you kind of want it to get perfect before patch 1.0 comes out. The thing is, it was really well balanced. This was what's worse, right? Sitting there, wanting to blow your brains out, attacking a white mob 15 times to slowly kill it, or like a white mob maybe just getting one shot sometimes. I think it's obvious. It's way better to just sometimes have a little bit too much damage. Than it to be like way too low. And that's where they fucked up. And it seems they are still fucking up, honestly. I think it still are fucking up. I think the balance, yeah, I don't know. You will get more power. This way will completely mitigate power creep, though. And it will just trigger the fuck out of everyone. And it probably won't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good to just log in and just your character's just like objectively a lot more shit than he was before. Even if you're staying in your league. But yeah. All right, large area sizes. Many players are reporting the areas feel like they're too large. Normally, when this is the case, the main reason is due to the other concerns such as muscle life, play damage being correct, or just a lack of entertaining content in the area. Bro, do you know where I felt this the most? I wonder if anyone else has. What was the zone that you felt was too large the most? Okay, Act 3. All right, you've got me, but which zone specifically? The waterways. Wait, that's the one I'm thinking of, right? The one that pissed me off the most, and I actually was thinking, man, this is way too big. And I didn't say it. I didn't externalize it. I was thinking it in my head, though, because I was trying to be positive. But I was thinking, I fucking hate this. And it was the one where you got to click the fucking lever and then run through it. I clicked so many levers, bro. And I was like, I was thinking in my head, when is it going to end? When is it going to end? And it was genuinely in my head. I'm thinking, fuck me, this is just cringe, bro, how long the zone is. And I was thinking that, but I didn't want to be a little pussy bitch, so I internalized it. But I was thinking about that. And, yeah, it did feel genuinely way too long. However, we're checking to see if there are any other outliers that players are spending too long to see if changes in size need to happen. 100%, if everyone was zooming around and teleporting and one-shotting every single screen, right, then it doesn't matter if the zone's a bit larger, right? If you can clear things 50% faster, it doesn't matter if the zone's 50% larger. It's a ratio, right, of clear speed versus area size. And the amount of content in zone to area size. So, like, that waterway is an example of there's fucking negative content in that zone. There's one interaction, there's one unique spot in that zone where you fight, like, one chick, like, standing off the edge, who drops, like, an item or something. Other than that, it's just click a fucking thing, clear a pack, walk along, click a thing, clear a pack. And it was just getting progressive. I remember it felt like time passed more slowly, and I just was pain champing. Chat, negative content. Yes, I'm from New Zealand. Yes, I have a weird accent. I say negative. You're going to need to get over that. In the meantime, we did notice that there are some areas that don't have sufficient checkpoints, so we're adding more checkpoints to those zones. Fair enough. It is a little bit spooky. The fact that they're just like, oh yeah, we just recalibrated it. You know, it's changed now. It's probably better. I think it's still bad. I think it's still a bit, the time to kill still too slow. And I feel like they need to err on the side of going maybe a little bit faster than what they would like versus a little bit slower. Because the second you get that moment of, I don't know, when you're logged in and you're gaming, you're in like, what do you want to call it, the flow state, and you're chilling, you're not thinking about having a bad time. You're just thinking about playing the game. It's when you get to this point where you're sitting there staring at the screen, watching your guy hit a monster, and he's just like there. And then you space out and you think, what the fuck am I doing? And then you get a feeling of boredom. And you don't want that. You want constant context shifts. You want to be popping off. There's a rate. And the rate right now is too slow, and I feel like the whole way they're balancing this is questionable. I feel like they should just go for like nerfing the really, really fucked up shit. Because I get it. You don't want people one-shotting bosses, right? That's dumb as fuck. Like, I totally agree with nerfing stuff that instantly one-taps bosses. I think one-shotting a boss is dumb. Unless you've got, like, in-game gear or, like, twinked character. Like, if you've got a twink character, fair enough, they can one-shot bosses. But you just shouldn't have that out the gate. That's dumb as fuck. Because then what's the point of the boss if you don't actually have to interact with the mechanics? Yeah, they should just, for sure... Yeah, map event and stuff. I am going to... I'm talking about my campaign experience, though, right? And ultimately, campaign experience is really important because that is the majority of the game for most people, right? It's just doing the campaign, and that's something you got to. And you want that to be like a fun, enjoyable experience, and you don't want it to feel like a slog. You don't want to be sitting there like spacing out because you're like auto attacking your monster 17 times in a row, right? What like he's done like once I had it when I was doing bosses, right? I mean, you saw this, right? Where they were up to like I was fighting that one chick, the Viper chick, for maybe like 15 minutes or something. And she'd done every single mechanic she had 4 times to the point where she bugged out and stopped doing certain mechanics. She just bugged out. And then I just had another fight just recently where the literal the end game boss just completely. And I'd seen the mechanics, and I feel like what is the right rate in killing a monster? And it's probably like maybe they get to do their mechanics 2 times if you're doing about average damage. And if you're doing shit damage, maybe 3 or 4 times. And if you're doing good damage, you do maybe see the mechanic 1 time. Each one of the mechanics once. And then if you're doing broken damage, right? Because you're twinked out, or you've got like a godlike character because you've been playing the game for many, many hours, then you can just kill it without doing any mechanics. I'm fine with that. But yeah, right now, like, the boss is doing the mechanics so many times that you've lost count, and actually the boss just bugs out. That's too long. Although my biggest concerns aren't even in this post. My biggest concerns are like fundamental skill design. Yeah, that's what it's the whole system. It's the whole skill system. I feel like that. I honestly feel like they need to do a good hard look at that and be like, yo, this like it ain't it. I don't think it's it. I feel like the combo system. I think there should be synergies, and they should have they can give you optional combos. But I don't like this like forced combo shit they're forcing on everyone. Like synergies are good. Like pressing buttons that work well with other buttons to like amp your damage of your main button and do stuff, like that's good, but I don't like that. I genuinely feel like and I feel like the whole weapon locking thing is complete ass. Warrior not even mentioned when the best build is default attack because you guys keep putting stupid attack times to melee, make it ungodly clunky with no payoff. I hope this is about buffing the underperforming gems because they're just not performing at all. Edit. At least they're addressing the minions and spears. Please do pass on the sorcerer spells. Oh. Yet another unpaid Path of Excel alpha tester. Path of Excel 2 alpha tester. There you go. 2.26 win. Extend Phorecia. Crip was right. I think what they think in their head... Right, what looks good in paper, what looks good in theory is one thing, and then I feel like the practical application of this thing, when you actually do it and you actually apply it, is something entirely different. And I feel like when they get the chance to play their game more, because I don't think they have been playing it that much, I feel like they've just been doing a lot of theory. Like in theory, it's better if we make all this stuff like, oh look, because they get to enjoy the boss for like 5 times as long, so then it's gonna have 5 times as much fun, and the monsters now don't just get instantly obliterated. So many things where I feel like in theory, it makes a lot of sense, and I understand why they're trying to make these changes. But the reality is different to the theory, and I suspect we are going to see a complete 180 on a lot of the stuff, and we're going to see the game probably align a little bit closer to how PoE 1 functions, because PoE 1 has a lot of problems, but it's got a lot of good shit going on with it. And I think the vision of the Soulsborne dream, I think, is they're trying it, and let's be real, they've tried it. I just don't think it's hitting right. The game's too loot based. Like, that's too loot based, and there's too many items, there's too many uniques. You can't do what they do in the Soulsborne games unless you want to completely ruin the loot. But you can't run loot because it's part of XL. It's all about the loot. It just doesn't. I just don't think it's compatible. The whole idea, like, dude, the fact that I'm playing the game and I've got like this min-max character out the wazoo. In my previous run in Path of Exile, I had this cracked character and he was awesome, insane gear, weeks of farming, pimped out. And because I didn't press space at the right time on a boss, it just gets, like, obliterated. And that's because of the Soulsborne mentality of, like, oh, no, yeah, you're supposed to roll that. You're not supposed to get hit by it. You're not supposed to get hit by it. You're supposed to roll it. So then, therefore, if you didn't roll it, well, you died. It is genuinely not compatible with ARPGs. It shouldn't be that. It should be, no, you've got sick fucking gear. It's cracked at the wazoo. You can get hit by it and survive it because you built your character like that to do that. So therefore, you don't die. It just doesn't. It doesn't. I don't think it's compatible. Just like the whole idea of this fucking space. I just don't think it. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna see PoE 2 head closer to what PoE 1 looked like, whilst having, like, the Soulsborne-esque ish kind of combat from time to time, versus, let's just make it into like some Soulsborne game with like ARPG stuff. It's just not, because it's just not working. Man, all these people saying PoE2 is bad. I've been sucked into enjoying this vision immensely and playing at my own pace. Most reviews I'm reading or listening to are talking about time it takes to do this and time it takes to do that. I haven't hit this power threshold, and I cannot annihilate X or Y mob in Z amount of time in Path of Exile 2. Some people are now discussing how this hurts casual players. No, it doesn't. It only hurts casual players if they're playing with their mindset of, I need to blast X amount of time in Y power and this slug waste. Many of these casuals. No, I think you can objectively think about it. Think about this. Imagine in Dark Souls if you had to hit the boss 1,500 times to make it die. Even if you could, like, survive, the whole time, it doesn't make it more fun. Right? If you have to hit the boss 1,500 times. Like, there's a time. Now, but at the same time, if you hit the boss one time and it died, that's also not going to be fun. Because then it's like, well, now you didn't even get to fight the boss. There's objectively a good TTK, or time to kill, that the most people enjoy. And right now, it's off. It's wrong for sure. Again, though, I don't think this is the biggest problem with PoE. I feel like the biggest problem is the fact that they're trying to do the Soulsborne mechanics in a game that's not supposed to be like a Soulsborne. It's, supposed to be something like build your own character, build your own skill, build your own fucking god, and then go and shit on stuff, whilst also having cool boss fights with cool mechanics and interesting endgame. But I think the vision, okay, their vision is not, let's make Dark Souls, but like top down. They want to apply mechanics from those genres because they think they're cool and put them in to the game and have them there as well, and as an option. Whereas right now it's like it's weighted too close to Soulsborne stuff. It's like, dude, the whole idea behind like parrying stuff, right? Like, in theory, it sounds cool. In reality, it just doesn't feel that great. Same thing with active block. Sounds cool. Then in reality, it feels shit. And it's like the same thing with like oh, you've got bosses that you've got to roll at the perfect times. Otherwise, they one-shot you. You know, like, it's like, that sounds cool, but in theory, it just feels complete bullshit. It doesn't feel like that. Like, it feels like it goes against the ethos of what makes, like, the ARP, you know, PoE what PoE is. And it's losing that. It's watered down. But let's continue reading, though. They're literally just playing the game and having fun, sure, and having encountered issues, like my dad with a rare monster, or my brother wanting to have a visual cue for when you're going to get hit when pure evasion. But their experiences are positive, more than anything I'm reading and watching across the greater PoE community. I'll be happily surprised if GGG I'll be happily surprised if GGG stands group and keeps in line with this new gameplay with plenty of tuning, of course, all around, of course. Pokana Mia Sony thinks, at least right now, the PoE2 campaign experience is good and continues to be in line with what I expect the game to. Can't wait for the PoE2 in-game. Yeah, the issue is that PoE2 right now is like a 7 out of 10 game for sure. But we don't want a 7 out of 10. Like, again, instead of the overall Giga Turbo nerfs, just nerf the stuff that's Turbo OP and the stuff that's kind of a lot better than the other stuff, and the stuff that's underperforming, bring it up to line. And then look at the skill systems and the way they balance the bosses and stuff, and stop trying to, like, commit on these hard Soulsborne mechanics and kind of get some of the good old-fashioned PoE mechanics back in the game. Like, make it feel good to customize characters again, you know? And make builds. Bro, my PoE league experience on a good league is like the meme of that guy with the board, and he's scruffy, and I've got like 500 things written down, and I'm schizoing out. My to-do list has got like 15 different build ideas. I've got a notepad open. I've fucking got 5 different POBs. I'm sitting there, and I'm going crazy. I'm getting on Discord. I'm yapping with the mods, the other PoE Andies, and we're sitting there. We're yapping about, like, dude, like, this looks so OP. Imagine we do this with this, and like, this could be so broken if you get that thing. And the issue is that you just don't feel like that in PoE at all. Where are you? Can we blacklist? And that's just because of the fundamental skill design of PoE2, the whole combos thing, the way that you're locked to the weapon, like, archetype building, the way you're shoehorned into doing a certain setup of skills, and the fact that they don't mention that in here is a little bit scary. All right, let's watch Mathil's review of this.
So this one was put out this morning. It's always good to pretty quickly get direct contact with, GGG, the developers, know what they're thinking, what we're, getting, what their reaction to our reaction, all that is. But this one, while it had some good stuff, it also had basically the first time I was truly kind of worried and concerned for what's going on and the direction to follow, because it wasn't good for at least one of these things. So I want to go over pretty much most of it, but then...
You know when I was first worried? My first real worry about GGG. Who knows at what moment it was? It's Chris, bro, and it wasn't even Chris leaving. It was the second he wasn't in the fucking announcement. I was like, "Where's Chris? Why is there no Chris here?" Like, wait, what? What Chris? And why is he not? And then it was like he was less and less and less, and then it was like Chris is gone. And yeah, I was there. It's always made me think, fuck, man, Chris the fucking goat, bro. Yeah. And now, obviously, Rishi leaving is pretty spooky, and now, this is a little bit sus, this post. It's a little bit shaky.
And really talk about the one particular issue. So what we're working on is, they're saying that, gameplay's feeling a bit slow, which obviously, that's what a lot of people are reporting, and how a lot of people are feeling. Monster life too high, player damage too low, errors taking too long. That's, pretty on point. That's what's happening. So they start out by just talking about the Huntress-specific concerns, which, as I pointed out in my last video, a lot of that has to do with early gameplay requiring certain combos, requiring frenzies, and requiring you to parry to kind of set up damage. They acknowledge that, which is at least a start. And then course, in some other kind of roundabout way, fix it by saying they're going to give you a skill to generate a frenzy on kill with that skill. You use that skill when something's about to die, get a frenzy, and then that means you don't necessarily have to parry to generate frenzies for these skills in the early game. Because in the late game, as I've mentioned, a lot of these problems go away when you can start fixing these problems with the tools at your disposal. Once you're geared enough, or once you've got the right skills and the right combos, you don't necessarily have to generate frenzies that much. You don't necessarily have to do specific combos. You can just mostly set it up well enough to just start right-clicking and running around. Early on, that's not really an option. You are kind of forced into this weird gameplay shit. And yeah, that's only going to be a little bit better, but it's still going to be pretty much a problem thanks to the skill. It's just going to be a sidestep solution. The other problem here that isn't necessarily being addressed, they're just saying that people don't necessarily like melee range and, the playstyle of melee and range, like comboing that much, which, yeah, it's something, but mostly it's just like people don't like feeling super weak. And the big problem with Huntress in particular, when you're first starting out with no gear, first playthrough, is it's super fucking weak. Like almost all of the builds and all of the skills that you try out are extremely weak. It just does not feel impactful. It does not feel like it does anything for the steps you take to get to that skill. And, you can start feeling kind of weak on your character because your gear tapers off or whatever, and you think maybe I'll try some other skills, try some other builds, and you try those other skills and they're doing nothing, like literal nothing. It doesn't make sense that the baseline level of power for Huntress in particular is so low. Like, you really should be trying skills. You should be getting to that next skill level threshold, level.
100%. It's the mentality of, like, forcing combos. Like, bro, you should be able to play the game like fucking doing whatever ability you think looks the coolest and feels like this. Oh, a lightning spear? That sounds fucking cool. You should have to just pick that and play it, and it should be able to do 80% of what someone doing some optimal setup could do, I think. Right? You should be able to pick an ability that looks cool and just fucking... It may not be ideal, but you shouldn't need to, like, fuck... Oh, you get... Like Mathil said... In order for me to fuck some ass, I had to get fucked in the ass first, and then I got to do a backflip, and then I got to fucking parry a guy, and then I got to chuck down an orb, and then do a thing. Like, no. You should be able to just pick a fucking thing and just be like, all right, I want to stab this guy with my lightning spear. And it shouldn't be optimal, and it shouldn't be the best, but it should work. And it's this forced shoehorning of, no, you will do this combo, or you will do no damage. And it's like, dude, people just don't want to do, like, it's just annoying. So, which is why I feel like they need to step away from the mandatory combos and move towards just synergies. Just step away from forced combos, move towards synergies. So make it like not optimal, but still good. Right? Not optimal, just still good. Straight up. Closer to PoE 1, yes. But not PoE 1 of like, no, you should definitely have abilities that are like straight up utility, abilities that are really good at single target but bad at clear, and abilities that are really good at clear and bad at single target, and some abilities that are somewhere in between, right? And yeah, 100%. You should, and on top of that, all these conditions, all this conditional shit, all this payoff trash, like just removal, like remove most of it, and just make them weaker. Remove most of it and make it weaker. And then it's like you're picking between what's more OP or what's more your flavor, instead of like some shit where, again, you're forced into doing X, Y, and Z in order to do anything. Straight up.
Fucking 11 skills or whatever, which is like level 50 or some shit. Getting to that threshold, trying that new skill and just going, holy fuck, that skill's sick. Instead of going, wow, that is a cool looking skill, but it still does nothing. So that's a bit of a problem, the baseline. They haven't really addressed that. And likewise, like even the highest tier skill, the Viper spear stab thing, it's bugged right now to the point of crashing. So, you only crash when you use it. So you can't even use one of the highest tier skills. So that it's, there's some sort of improvement here, but it's still not really addressing the overall concern of how sort of clumsy early on Huntress is, and also how weak it is. So it's a bit not really landing the mark. The player minion stuff, I don't really know too much about. I know that minions have been struggling. They're not very powerful. They die quickly. That's being kind of addressed in early game because of some stuff that they changed at some point in the past, and they're kind of making it a bit better. But apparently the end game minion stuff is still going to be pretty bad. It hasn't really been addressed here. So that's a bit of a concern as well.
If a massive shill like Mathil is worried, PoE 2 is over. Oh my god, bro. Gee, dude. Okay, for starters, Mathil's not a shill. Mathil is what you call a PoE enjoyer. But he's a career player, and yeah, for sure, there's obviously like, his his entire existence on the internet is directly intertwined with Path of Exile for sure, but he's not a shill. If he thought something was heinous, he would say it's heinous. I think. Well, to an extent, for sure. Yeah, no, I think Mathil's biggest bias is not that he's a shill, it's that he needs to say things that are Giga Chad. So if it's not going to sound Giga Chad, then he's not going to say it. That's the issue. That's his biggest issue. That's his biggest flaw. Okay.
For a lot of people that love minion play, but I don't really know too much about that. Still, it's not touching on the best of this type of an issue, so it's a bit of a concern. Monster life too high. They already adjusted that because it was apparently too high throughout the campaign in particular, so they did that by nerfing it by 25%. They're still going to keep recalibrating some stuff. They did for rares and whites, their elites and their minions sort of thing. Apparently those had way too much life and they already changed those. So those are some good steps. I'd say this is probably one of the most, on point kind of points here that they've actually addressed. This is the one that had me...
Wait, is that similar to how you only say something if it's stupid? Well, no, my equivalent would be like, people think I tried to be contrarian too much, and I have a bias to like want to contradict something, whereas he has a bias to want to say something that sounds more Giga Chad, right? So like, there might be a correct answer, and there may be something that sounds badass when you say it, and he might just say something badass to the sound. Just like there might be an obvious like correct thing, but I might try to contradict it because I want to contradict it because it just feels good to contradict things. So fuck, bro. Okay, there it is. All right. Yeah, no, hey, it is what it is. Shut up. Okay, this is where he's worried. Okay, let's hear this. This is where Mathil's worried. So Mathil's worried. Get your poke hands ready. Here we go.
Very concerned. Large area sizes. It's a concern that's been going through all of PoE2 since the start. It's not new. It's not fresh. So it's very ongoing and apparent. Many players are reporting the areas feel like they are too large. Normally, when this is the case, the main reason is due to other concerns such as monster life or player damage being correct, or just the lack of entertaining content in the area. However, we are checking to see if there are any other outliers that players are spending too long in to see if any changes in area need to happen. In the meantime, we did notice there are some areas that don't have sufficient checkpoints, so we are doing a pass of adding some more of these. So the very first thing when I read this, I was just like, are you fucking serious? I actually straight up felt like I was being gaslighted here. Because yes, like I said, this is an apparent problem that all of us have felt, and it's real. A lot of the zones, especially, as everyone will mention, in Act 3, when you first get to Act 3, are extremely large. It's not that you're not doing enough damage. It's not that mobs, have too much life. It's not the fact that there's not enough, little bits of content to interact with. It's that the zones are fucking massive, and you get lost and you backtrack and you have to clear this full fucking thing. There's a lot of culprits in Act 3. There's plenty of culprits in Act 1.
What if they just put a load screen in? Like, what if they just divided each zone into 3 things and put a load screen in each zone? They just put like 2 extra load screens in each zone. Is it now fixed? Isn't what you're describing that they're too labyrinth-like? They're too much of a maze then? There's too much backtracking? Not that it's too large. Like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like, you get what I'm saying, right? Which is the steel man, right? Like, we're talking here. Like, I'm being real, right? I don't. Again, what if everything was seamless and had no load screen whatsoever? Is throughout all of Act 1 and Act 2? Is now that zone too big? I don't. But it's not. Like 100%. Which is, again, it just feels like ass when you go into that fucking sewer zone and you've clicked one of these things for the fucking 15th time and you kill the same fucking mob pack for the 16th time, and it just feels like you're in there doing that thing for too long and then nothing notable or dynamics happening, and it's just like, bro, this is boring. It's too long. Like, it should just be half the size. Or they need to put twice as much shit in there. Like, it's either gonna be half the size or there's twice as much interesting, novel things in there, right? Like, You can. It's not this. So it's like, you know. And on top of that, if you can clear zones twice as fast, well, that means you clear them high twice as fast. So this clear speed is obviously a factor. So I do get what they're saying. You know, no, like think about it. Right? What's they could make zone half the size, so you clear it twice as fast. It's a ratio. 100%.
Too as well, but it doesn't feel quite as bad. And yet we're being told that, like before, because we have been told this before. We've listened to interviews and Q&As and shit where Jonathan has been like, yeah, look, we get it. You guys might think it's too large, but it typically means, and he's said this exact thing before. And then once again getting this feedback, once again getting told the exact same thing. This actually has a real cause for concern for me because it is real. And it is being kind of swept to the side, and it makes me question whether or not he is actually playing the game. Like a lot of people are complaining about, do these guys play the game? I reckon they've still got play testers. I reckon they're still playing the game stuff. But when do you think the last time Jonathan had actually sat down and done a campaign playthrough was?
Yeah, do you think it's compounded by the fact that Act 3 is longer than the other acts, and then you have to redo it a second time, like in quick succession after you've just done it? Because you kind of speed run for Act 1 the second time, and it just is so fast. You're like, whatever. And Act 2's similar. And then Act 3, it just takes a lot longer. And then you get time to really, like, just get stuck with your own thoughts and think, man, is this taking too long? Like, what the fuck's happening? Like, oh, I adjusted this zone. I have to do it again. And you're in there, and it's like, fuck, this is taking too long. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's compounded by the fact that you're doing it again as well, which makes it worse. Which maybe is a good thing, though, because it exaggerates the feeling of, actually, maybe this zone is it's just too long. Like, it's just too long for some of them, you know? And whether that means they need to make some of the layouts more linear, or they need to reduce the size, or they need to increase the telegraphing of where to go of some places. Because you can attack this from multiple things. You could, like, add in a few indications of where you're supposed to go. They could remove a few of the dead ends, and then they could reduce the size by like 10%, right? And if all three of these things, like a multi-pronged attack, it can make the zone feel a million times better with not that many changes, but just a few things. And I feel like that's probably what needs to happen to Act 3. You know?
And I would answer maybe even fucking never in one full sitting, because he's, a very busy guy and on top of all of everything, and probably comes in and does all these issues and everything. Sitting down and playing the full campaign for like 15 to 20 hours is a big time commitment, and it can beat you
31 hours. 31 hours.
Down when you're going through these zones, when you're playing Huntress in particular, and it definitely does feel very large. One of the other things they're saying is they're just going to add checkpoints, right?
Do you know what? Do you know what's crazy is? I thought checkpoints were a Band-Aid fix. I didn't think checkpoints were staying. I still am not convinced they are. I still feel like checkpoints are lazy. Like, what's that about? That seems crazy to me. That's insane. That's the thing. To me, it seems like a Band-Aid fix, and I don't know what the fuck is going on with checkpoints. Because you just metagame around them, and then they're just there, and then you spam and checkpoint teleport. It feels like lazy. When is this interview? Because this interview is tomorrow, guys. You're going to be asking tomorrow. Now, let's see here. Mathil's claim that Jonathan's never played the Furita game in a long-ass time. What do you think? Yeah, you're okay. You're a guy who's making decisions about the game constantly and designing things. And you got a bunch of dudes coming in, asking you questions and shit. And you're like, hey, let me just sit down for like 3 days and play the game. So he's basically saying Jonathan's out of touch. That's what Mathil's saying. Mathil's saying Jonathan's out of touch. He doesn't understand what people are saying. I guess I feel like it's very important that he does play it if he doesn't. Because it's like a chef that cooks food but has never tasted his own dish.
Right? They're going to do more checkpoints and stuff. The checkpoint gaming thing is a very Band-Aid fix, and it also doesn't really feel good. And it also, a lot of the time, doesn't really help. You run through a zone, you get stuck somewhere. You have to do a lot of backtrack. The checkpoints aren't there. They're not helping you. And it's just, it's not much of anything. So what this kind of boils down to...
Hey, Mathil's done, dude, he's calling them fucking Band-Aids, bro. That's what I've been calling them for years since they put it in. I remember Megalo when they put them into maps. He's learning the ways. He knows.
For me, is that I don't think they are building the game right. It's made me kind of realize some shit that I don't think they're building this game through the campaign to be much of an ARPG. It really does feel at this point, based off of a lot of other people's complaining and feedback and what I've been thinking about, it really does feel like it's kind of a story mode game at the moment, which is like fine for the first playthrough and it feels good. And that's why we all kind of felt good and, went, hey, campaign's cool. When it first came out, it felt really nice. It's big, whatever. It's all new. You're exploring it. But it's not something you really want to redo almost ever, which is what a story mode game is, right? You play through it once and you're like, that was fun, let's move on. The problem here is it's kind of like that, where it's very long. There's, all these new things that you're learning and exploring that are just going to feel very vastly empty and repetitive because of how they are and the fact that you're just waiting to get to end game. I can choke down campaigns because I kind of like campaigns. I'm exploring my new builds and there's an end goal. And yet, even I can still feel that some of these zones are very big and they're just not addressing it at all.
And do you think, Mathil, that maybe your new builds don't really feel like new builds because of the current skill system and weapon system, and you have to keep using the same several abilities with every single build you play? Like that, which I feel like adds to the monotony of playing the game again, because your character feels far more the same, is behaving far more the same, and you've got a lot of the same utilities. Because actually, asking a video, this is my question to Mathil.
Just saying we should, tone down monster life or give you more damage or more content. One of the other ways you can very much feel that large zones are too large and maps are too large is picking up an accelerate shrine in a map and not really feeling a problem anymore. You're just like, okay, this is kind of normal. I'm running around and, map's cleared quick enough. And what that indicates to you is that either the zones are too large or we're way too slow. So you either have to give us some more speed and then the zones won't feel as large, or you have to shrink the zones and then we, don't mind feeling that slow because you're not back.
He's kind of contradicting his clear speed take a second ago now. But yeah, I get what he's cooking with.
Tracking, you're not exploring empty shit. So the fact that it's more life or damage or something, it makes no fucking sense. I'm actually on tilt reading this.
It's definitely not the play to make everyone faster, by the way. It's definitely not. Well, no, because that's what I was saying. He was saying before, like, I'm being gaslit, and I'm saying, well, actually, if you actually clear the zone 50% faster, it's the same as making the zone smaller, right? And now he's saying that, which is what the point that they were making up here was clear speed. This was the point that they were making, and now he's saying that. But now, anyway, I think it's bad. I think making everyone go fast is dumb. And definitely, they should pack more content into the zone or make the zone smaller or more notable. 100%. Because the second you do that, you lose a lot of that, what they're trying to get. They're trying to get that moment-to-moment combat and to trying to make it more significant. They're trying to make it more impactful. And the second you speed everything up, you just can't really pass everything. And it just turns into a macro game of like, teleport one shot. That's what they're trying to avoid. You've done wrong. You should be able to get to the point where your character becomes a god and just deletes everything on the screen really fast. But we don't want to just let's just put everything on. Everyone just has an accelerate shrine 24/7. Like that's just not the play. That ain't it. That ain't it. And to Mathil's point, saying that they are making a story mode game, I feel like for sure they are trying maybe a little bit too hard to create like this tailored experience. That is like they want you to interact with the game like this, and they want you to use these abilities, and they want you to do this combo, and they want you to experience, and it's like I feel like they're trying to force you too hard, and they're trying to make like before it was kind of like build your own guy, whereas now it's like here's your guy that we've made for you. And then look, this is the boss that we're designed to interact exactly with these guys, with this mechanic. Whereas before you could like build your own build, and it was totally quirky and cooked, but it allowed you to do some really cheesy dumb shit, which felt good because it felt like you're kind of cheating and getting away with it. Which they need to have in PvE2. They need to have that. You need to have that feeling of like, yo, I feel like I'm fucking breaking the game right now. In a good way. But they're trying way too hard to be like, no, you are going against the vision. Yeah, you must use a combination of 4 attacks to do 1 DPS, motherfucker. Yeah, I get what I'm saying. Like, and then you have that with the slow combat and the long ass campaign, and yeah, it becomes like oof. It becomes monotonous and annoying and a little bit more boring. And then yeah. But hey, having a cracked campaign is really important for a game, by the way. And not only is it really important, it's like the biggest thing for getting people in the door. Like if they can make an insane 10 out of 10 first time campaign experience and replayable campaign that feels good, and then there's shit in game, right? Because like almost no in game, like whatever, they can get a bunch of people liking the game, and then from there they can build at the end game. So I feel like they do have to kind of focus on making the campaign an experience, just not like they just need to stop trying to like shoehorn every single player into playing the game the way that they want you to play it, right? They need to let us bend the rules a little bit, go outside the box, warp the vision.
And it's annoying. So, yeah, you rarely see that from me, but this one was a bit of an issue just because I straight up felt like I was being gaslighted into thinking it's not that big. Crashes and stuff, yep, of course, I experienced a lot of crashes, whatever. It is what it is. I can't, be too mad about it.
Wait, I just about this. Example is in Souls games, like there's a vision that the Soul... Dude, oh my God. They're not even taking the lessons from the Souls games. Bro, I just thought about it. They're trying to... This whole vision of the Souls-like combat and super impactful boss fights and mechanics and everything. I just realized the Souls devs, like the intended experience is you play with like fucking light attack and heavy attack, and you play with like some sword, and the bosses are really hard, and you die like 50 to 100 times. But if they want, you can kind of break the rules, and you can just play a magic build that shouts out a laser beam and one-shots the boss, or you can like use these broken summons and just kind of cheese everything. And you can kind of break the rules and break the vision of what the devs intended. And that's kind of like what PoE 2 needs. Right? You have the choice. Yeah, they kind of need it. Yeah, they got to let us break out straight up. No, I'm not saying that we should cheese and trivialize everything, and it just means that we should be able to like we should definitely. Well, no, there should definitely be ways to cheese bosses, 100%, for sure. Like that needs to be a thing. There's been some cheese. They actually do, 100%. They legit do. You need it, yeah. But if you want to, you can go through to ultra ethical builds and play like fucking pain champion mode.
Of course, everyone's always doing their best when it comes to technical issues, and it's gotten better. I'm crashing less. I crashed like 100 times on day 1, maybe like 20 times on day 2, maybe like 10 times today. So it's getting better for me, but it is what it is. That's kind of a whatever. And then some very small quality of life, kind of whatever. Neither here nor there. So it's some pretty concerning stuff. If this is basically the direction of the game, and then all of this as well, like the next class is going to be based around power charges, and you have to fucking do all these combos and make sure you've got your generator in tow, and then you can finally do an attack, and then the attack isn't that good until you've got all the right gear. I'm not sure it's going to be a very good progress from here on out. And especially, like the large area size thing, I really think that one kind of needs to be addressed at this point in a better way than this. People are struggling to...
Do they even need to make the game that punishing that hard anyway? Like, so what if like fucking players don't have to do a 50 like this, like some turbo dick ass combo where like you get fucked in the ass, you can fucking guy, and then you do a fucking backflip and you do the whole like, bro. Why did what the fuck? If people just go into the game blind and raw dog, they're gonna be so playing the game not like correct anyway that they're gonna do complete ass, and it's gonna be very, 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 very difficult. Right? Anyway, that's like almost like they don't even. It's almost like they're balancing the game around like the most try-hard players, who are really like min-maxy and doing all the most synergistic, strong meta stuff. And then the people who are just like the randos who they really, are kind of, it's one of those things where they legitimately, Like the fact these nerfs are hitting like just everyone is kind of insane, eh? Considering it already was very difficult, and it already took a long ass time, and it already was hard. Like that's insane, actually, right? When you think of it like that, what the fuck?
To redo the campaign already, and it's only like the second time around, the second league, you should, like, at the very least be feeling like it's a bit of a chore, not like you just straight up don't want to do it because it's just too much effort, it's too much work, and the entire thing feels like work. Like, there's lots to say there. I think I've said as much as I can or enough without, getting too repetitive, but it is a bit concerning. This is probably the most, as lots of complaints have said, probably the most what I feel they've been out of touch with this sort of thing before, and hopefully that goes in some kind of better direction in the future. So I'm going to end on a more positive note, and that is with the Thorns build that is back and back better than ever. So if you remember last time around when we played PoE1, there was some Thorns action. There was a bit of Thorns interaction on the passive tree and stuff, and I gave it a shot. And I'm a Thorns enjoyer. I like the idea of it. But it was definitely lacking some support. It was lacking some actual source to make it a proper archetype in this game. And I think, surprisingly enough, real development time went towards this in this patch 0.20 to make Thorns a much more viable.
He's probably got that crazy chest, right, which has got like tons of thorns in it. So he's doing like a lot more. Like, I wonder how well it's going to scale as he gets into maps and stuff. I really like that one quill ability and the couple of supports that allow you to chuck thorns into a single target on every hit. I mean, it looks pretty potent.
Product, and it's actually some very good changes, and probably one of the biggest winners of this patch overall. It's Thorns. So as you can see, we actually have a bit more Thorns damage and a bit more control over our damage this time around, instead of just waiting for things to purely hit us. Now, my build is still very much in its infancy, and there's going to be, I think, a lot more scaling to go and a lot more stuff to try out, but essentially, there's a bit better Thorns uniques now, and on top of that, there are some supports. So it's not very hard to get this sort of setup going, especially throughout the campaign. All you need is some unique boots. You don't really need a unique chest, but it helps for a bit of extra Thorns. And then the hat that lets all damage apply to you against Thorns. So not just melee, but also range and
how do you get that much current
projectiles and spells and shit like that. But there are new supports now that basically will mean that you apply your Thorns damage when you hit, if you've been hit somewhat recently. So it's not, a super overpowered be-all, end-all where you can just apply your Thorns damage always. You still have to get kind of hit, but you at the very least apply much more of your damage much more routinely than you did before. It creates a much more engaging playstyle, and one where you've got a bit more control over your own damage instead of just waiting for things to hit you, and it's really quite powerful. It's got the extra AoE, it's got applying your actual Thorns damage. Thorns damage itself got buffed. We look prettier in a nice little robe we just picked up. There's a good few things that are good for Thorns, and I haven't
reminds me of the Thorns set, bro, from fucking Diablo 3.
Tried the new stuff, which is the caltrops, which is some stuff you drop when you dodge roll, and I think that maybe has some potential as well. I am, of course, memeing it up a bit with my character, and I went the blacksmith route because I just figured there'd be nothing funnier than going into the toughest enemy and boss fights and stuff, and just sitting there smithing a weapon with the absolute meme dogshit skill that is that weaponsmith thing, while everything around me kills itself against me. So I'm actually using it to my advantage, and yeah, it's a bit of a meme. But I think
there's no synergy there, really. Oh, wait, the added flat will get converted. Wait, it should be pretty good. No, it makes sense. No, do you know what? It works. Bro, because, the guy's killing himself to Thorns, and you're getting some shit. Yeah, I can see it. Wait, I'm just thinking about how the support gem would interact with Combust. I need to read the support gem. I think you'd have to link it to Combust to make it do any relevant damage. Unless it's a... Well, I need to read the Thorns uniques.
Thorns is fairly versatile, like a lot of different ascendancies can do it. And there's also a good few different ways of building Thorns. So my example won't necessarily be what someone else's example is, but I think there's a good few ways of doing it, and it feels pretty damn viable. I think it should provide a nice campaign clear and good early map gaming as well. But we'll see where it goes from here.
I must admit, that makes me want to do Thorns, like, real bad. I mean, darn, I absolutely Thorns supports. I wanted to do it. Now seeing it, like, that just looks satisfying.
I fully expect this to be a build that can do quite a lot of things and have a lot of fun with. I don't know exactly how far it can go, but it's promising and it's a fun one. So the good news is there's absolutely still fun there to be had in PoE 2, and I think the game itself can still become one of the greats, like, of all time, by all means. It could overtake PoE 1, it could become the best RPG. It
fucking will. It will. I still haven't lost faith. It will. The worst case scenario is this. They throw shit at the wall. They really try to push Division. They really try to push the Soulsborne shit. They play it. They realize, this ain't it. This ain't it. This ain't it. They keep trying it. They go, this ain't it. They can change systems and change numbers and change the way. They can remove restrictions. The thing is, would you... Okay, look at it from their perspective. Would you rather... make everything unrestricted and make everything super fucking OP and then start adding restrictions and nerfing stuff? Right? Or would you start off like, okay, let's go full reserved. Let's be conservative as fuck. Let's go raw dog, pure in theory vision, and then chuck it at the wall and then try it. And then actually, if it doesn't work, then we're gonna start to just iteratively remove restrictions. Make modifications, buff certain things. 100%. Bro, worst case scenario is we get like a way better, way smoother, way nicer looking version of PoE 1. And that's already that's the best ARPG that currently exists. That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario is they make significant changes and large developments that actually affect the game positively and make it more interactive and more engaging, whilst also retaining a lot of the best elements of the first game, with like a lot of the systems and the itemization, all that shit. And they made some new version of PoE that's actually different and really good. Worst case is we just get a better version of PoE 1. Because there's no shot. They're going to be like, everyone hates us. Let's just keep it in. Doesn't matter. Fuck you. Everyone starts quitting. Fuck this game. There's no... In 10 years. No, not 10 years. I think they're going to just throw shit at the wall. They're going to try it, see how it goes. Because you don't know. Because you think you don't want change. You think you want a fucking clone of PoE 1. You think you don't even want PoE 2, and you're just like, no, just keep doing PoE 1, but like just add some new monster and some new league and just keep doing that forever. That's what you think you want. But you don't even realize the best game ever to exist has not been made yet, right? And that's what they're trying to do, right? And you've got to try new things. You've got to try weird shit. You've got to try stuff that in theory makes sense, but then in reality is bad. And then sometimes in theory something makes sense, and then in reality it's even better. And I feel like there's some magic in PoE 2. Like when it's working good and when it feels good, it can be fucking amazing. And then it's just a lot of stuff that they tried and it's clearly like not working out, and they're gonna have to change. Bro, I'm not too optimistic. You really don't think that they would just be like fuck it. And like if everything wasn't working, they would just start reverting a lot of the stuff. You really don't think, because they would. If everyone unanimously was like, nah, do you know what? This doesn't, like, over time, they would just change it. Because they're not trying to make a game. Like, it's not like Dez are out there and be like, fuck these guys. Let's try and make the worst game possible. Like, no. Their goal is, let's make the best game possible. And guess what they did? They already made the best ARPG ever made. And now they're trying to make the next version. But they're trying new shit, and you're going to have to deal with that. Now, if all of a sudden, like, all the top dogs just start leaving GGG, at that point, then I've lost hope in PoE 2. But while some of the guys who are clearly passionate, some of the main guys are still there, like Mark, like Jonathan, while they're still there, while they're still popping off, while they're trying to make the game good, I still have faith. It sucks that Rishi and Chris have gone, though. Yeah. It does suck. Part of me does wonder, the reason Chris left, I wonder if, like, dude, like, the visions didn't align. And it was just, like, not working out. I wonder if that actually happened. But then why would he, the big dog, what do you think maybe he just was committed to his work way too much and just wanted to, I mean, we'll never know, right? We'll never know. But yeah, no, I 100%, to lose faith in the game at this point when it's at patch 0.2, when they're still experimenting, or the game's in its infancy, is not only is it insane, it's fucking brain dead, bro. You lack any level of critical thinking or foresight yourself to think like, maybe this fucking version that's only got like half the game in it, which is they're still testing the systems for the first time. Like, you are brain dead. You are brain dead to be like, this game's done. There's no way it could possibly be good. Bro, if they want to, they absolutely can PoE1 the fuck out of this game and make it like, you know, at least a better version of PoE1. If they want to, at any point. Now, I don't think that's what they should do. I think that it should be their own a new game, and I feel like they should try and do new shit and experiment with new ideas, especially like in the early parts where they're doing this thing called early access, bro. It's early access. That's when they should be doing this experimentation.
This really does need a bit of divergence from the quote-unquote vision, because at the moment it definitely feels like they're building a game for more of... design-wise, they're building a game for more theoretical design choice than for actual practical gameplay.
Bro, King, what the hell? Preach, King. Preach.
That's what I'm worried about as of reading this post today, and we'll see how things go. Hopefully, you know, we get some positive outlook in the future, but for now, that one has me feeling a bit despair. Either way, Thorns, next video will probably be pretty freaking pog, so look out for that one. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
I'll put it this way. Look. If Jonathan made PoE 2 and Chris made PoE 1, Chris made the game I love. Jonathan did not. Like if you know, like if one dev made one, like if one team lead had the vision for one game and one team lead had the vision for another game, the vision I like was Chris's vision, because PoE 1 was fucking awesome.
I think it's a little more complicated than that. I think it's a collaborative effort. And they both worked on the game, right? And they probably both worked on PoE 2. It's like, yeah, it's a little bit more multifaceted. I don't think it's I don't think it's how reality works. There's probably some of the best shit he likes about PoE1 was Jonathan's idea. But if it was my guess. So you guys saying Chris kind of got made into this godlike figure because he was kind of the face. So I think all of this really positive shit got associated with him. But he did come on and talk, and he had really good takes. Consistently. Like, insanely good takes. Like, crack takes. So.
I guess it's like one of those stupid ground effects. I don't know, man. Dude. Oh, GGG! Seriously, dude. You and your fucking stun bullshit, man. This is why I hated Diablo 4. I can't even do one perfect strike. Dude, it's just so fucking boring, man.
Got him, baby! There we go. Got him. Okay, yeah. Okay, speaking as the guy who used to be playing Perfect Strike for it was cool. Alright, that's nothing. You went to get one of them temporal shield mobs, okay? And then it runs away from you. You literally can never get it. It will just indefinitely run away from you. You have to catch it in a corner. Bug out its AI.
Zone sizes are perfectly fine. It's just monster HP. Well, I can one-shot all the goddamn monsters, and I'm not having an ounce of goddamn fun because this thing is bigger than my goddamn... I'm at the beginning!
That guy's mentally ill. I was thinking, like, what is it that makes that feeling? What is that feeling? That feeling, if you're fighting a monster and it's faster than you and it attacks quicker than you, it does everything faster than you, it feels oppressive and you feel weak and you feel shit. But then if you are faster than the monster, have more mobility than the monster, do more damage than the monster, you feel kind of like you're the god gamer and you're like Neo or something, or you're doing the Matrix. And right now it feels like every single monster is like he's Neo and you're like the pleb. The players need to feel, it needs to be a feeling of like being powerful. And if you don't have that feeling, then it feels shit. But then you can't just have it handed to you for free. You have to earn it. So, I don't know. It's a hard one, eh? It's a hard one. This is your average person who exists in reality. They walk around and they just, whatever's right in front of their face, that's what they see.
Do not enjoy this right now. Therefore, gaming definitely bad. Gamer dead, the worst thing ever. Me having bad experience right now, therefore game has no future.
No, you need to look at the history, right? Look at the present. Look at the current systems in place, and then project to the future. Okay, now you can do the same thing. You can look at, okay, like, look. You can do this, right? For something like Blizzard. And it was like, Blizzard was like this. Whoosh. Like, if you're like in 2007 or something, you're just like, holy shit. You're going to look forward to the future, and you're going to be like, damn, bro, this is Blizzard. And you can do that. And it's one of those things where if you look at, obviously, current Blizzard is just like this. This is current Blizzard. Current Blizzard is, well, they're already low, but it's just a slow down arrow, right? And you can use this, and you can predict, and you can compare. Okay. Basically, I mean, if we're looking from like 2000 and whatever, this is like whatever. Let's just say this is 2015, right? To like whatever 2025, right? That's Blizzard. This is Blizzard. Okay? Right? Well, should I change it to blue? Is it better if I change it to blue? Look, blue. Blizzard. Blizzard blue. Okay? This is Blizzard. Now let's look at GGG. This is GGG. Right? GGG is this. We're talking, let's get a nicer, fucking bigger thing out here. It's just been consistently getting better and better and better. Now, sometimes they had like some shit leagues. Right? They got some shit leagues, some better leagues, some shit, and it probably looks more like this, right? And, whatever. PoE 2 is currently just in one of these. But if you still look at the trend, right? What is the trend, bro? Up. The song is terrible. Holy fuck. The song is terrible. It's currently in a dip. It's currently in a dip. This was like, this whatever, you know, whatever. This is like PoE 2, like, launching in the first season, whatever the fuck, and it's been like, man, actually, do you know what? A lot of issues, a lot of things. The patch not that good, whatever. But I can't see how anyone can't just look at the overall and be like, well, yeah. Based on the past, based on the present, based on what we know about this. Dude, what is happening? These guys are gonna kill me, for sure. Like, and be like, GGG's doomed, it's dead, it's done. You're insane, mate. Feedback from a white mob. Hello, I am a white mob at Act 3. I wanted to let GGG know that I am in loving the new patch. I heard that the other ARPGs, my fellow white mob friends, just get nuked by human players. I am so happy that GGG delivered on their promise to give me meaningful combat. I have more speed than the human players. This way I get to reach them. They try to run and dodge roll, but thanks to the new 3-second stun mechanic, I can hit many of them eventually. As a white mob, I love that almost every support gem or unique item comes with upsides for us mobs. For example, their multiple projectile support got buffed from -20 less damage to -35. This made combat this made combat against range characters so much better. If they barely do any damage to us mobs. Honestly, I was concerned that there was one row direct nerf to us white mobs in the 20 pages of 0.2 patch notes. My armor got reduced by 30%. But then I remembered that armor is shit, so it's okay. The best chance is that GGG introduced this wonderful policy of treating early access as full 1.0 release because of money. I mean, success. Because of success. So I get to keep my power and stunning to death those pesky human players until at least August. Thank you, GGG, for making PoE 2 a wonderful game to be a white mob in. I already recommend the game to my other white mob friends from games like Last Epoch and Diablo 4 to come try it. Heard it's really bad for white mobs there. It sounded that players get to experience all the fun. But here, GGG prioritizes my fun first. So I will continue to be a loyal white Act 3 white mob in PoE 2. Thank you, GGG. Bro, I don't know what he's saying, bro. What's he saying here? What's the white mob saying? He's glitching out. He's glitching out in this text, yeah. Yeah, pretty funny. Pretty funny from the white mob. Feedback from white mob. This line here, bro, kind of is pretty accurate, by the way. I don't want to be a little, but I don't want to be a hater. What? Why they promoting it like a fucking league when it's not a league, it's a patch? And then why are they even they're going out of the way to sponsor people to promote it, to get new people into the game whenever the game's in a fucking shit state? And legitimately, the only answer is because I want to try and make some. That it's the most profitable it's ever going to be because of the fact that it's still early access, so you got to buy it to get in. So it's just money. It's just a money angle. Whereas the best games, okay, do you know the best games? Do you know how they're successful? They just make an insane game, and then they just get tons of money because of it, because they make a sick game. That's the GG angle. Actually. It's a little bit cringe. Like, min-max the game, pimp it out, make it fucking sick, make it cracked. Then right before the league launch, do a little push. The patch before the final patch, do a push. You know, sponsor a run. You know what I'm saying? The patch before. Milk it then. Okay, whatever.